welcome to the T20 show on Radio 44, and joining us today is one person who has many things under his umbrella, if I may call, Mr. Asif Karim, who is the chairman of Safina's Foundation, which does the Kenyan International Sports Film Festival and also the Sports Magazine, an accredited mediator of the Kenyan Judiciary, board member at Kenya Film Commission, and most importantly, a sportsman having captained Kenya in tennis as well as cricket. Welcome to the T20 show, Asif. How are you feeling?
Fine, thank you very much. I want to thank Radio 44 for this invitation. And you guys are doing a wonderful job, and I look forward to this interview.
Thank you. Well, pleasure is all ours. Now, let's get digging in right now. We all know about the new committee that has been formed by Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed to overlook the election process and to streamline the handing over of the baton to the incoming board for Cricket Kenya. Now, we have not seen anyone in this list being an ex-cricketer or having any cricket norms or idea. They are all judicial members or juries that have done really well in life, but no one knows anything about cricket. What do you feel about this?
Well, first of all, I want to compliment the minister for what was really necessary. I think it was coming late. Should have been done 2-3 years ago, because the signs were very clear of where our cricket was going.
Yep.
And your comment on the committee that has been formed, of course they're very seasoned. The chair lady is very seasoned, the deputy is also very seasoned, but definitely there's a major concern. There's a lot of discussion going on in the cricket fraternity of why no cricketer was involved.
Yep.
It is paramount, and I strongly feel and you'll be very candid on this matter to say maybe the minister was misled by this committee that was formed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a lot of powers behind that who would like to still control, who still like to push this matter, and it's very evident that if correct stakeholders were involved, you would have had an all-inclusive committee where the cricketers are very much required to give their input on the technical issues,
yes,
on so many other issues. If you look at one of the mandates, it says prepare the national team and run the cricket in this country.
Correct.
Well, you just said there is no cricketer in that system.
How do they do this?
How will they do? I'm just looking and waiting to see how they'll do it. The only option I see possibly is maybe they may have coped if the mandate allows them.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that would be something they should consider, to co-opt, and especially for those two areas of work that needs to be done.
Right. And you know, we had Sharad Rao last week with us, and he actually said that what if this very committee was set out for all the sporting boards, not just cricket, and rather they look over election processes or other things for the entire sports community in Kenya and not just cricket. Anything on that, or do you feel that every other sport, at least someone needs to be included in that committee who knows about the sport?
Well, as I've been involved at international playing cricket and tennis for over 20 years, I have seen the structure of our sports organizations and sports administration in this country. We have a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it starts from the top, from the government. We need to first of all take sports with the seriousness it deserves. When I started playing sports, it was more for passion. It's now a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
So when money is involved, we need to create more professionalism. We need to have people accountable, and we need to put the right people in the right place, because when money is involved, a lot of eyes go for that. And so we are in a dire stress. I think that suggestion by Mr. Rao was quite welcoming. I think this committee can be expanded to look into all the sports in this country.
Yep.
And then every sport that they're looking at, they can get a few people in that particular sports to come in and give their input,
right,
to give them some guidance, so that we create a good structure and a good document for the next few years that can work well for our youngsters.
Well said. Well, we know that CS Amina Mohammed has come out with a whole long sheet that I've gone through as well about the election process, forming the committee and overlooking it till the end of the elections, till someone has actually come out victorious. But do you think that this committee forming has actually worked in favor of cricket in Kenya? Because is election the only thing that was hindering our progress in the world as a cricketing nation? Was that the only thing that needed to be changed, or was there something more to it?
You know, cricket unfortunately has a lot of deep-rooted problems over the years, and has always been kind of shied away or covered it up on temporary measures to secure few interests that are around. Now, over the last 3-4 years, elections has been the biggest problem, where different groups are fighting for these positions. So my question is elections really going to solve this problem? For me, definitely not. I've even written an article on that elections is not the solution to Kenya cricket's problem.
True.
What right now we need, in my view, is a healing process.
Yes.
We need all the worrying factors, all the anger that is in the cricket structures for people who are fighting for positions to calm down. And you can only calm down with time. And time is the best healer to this situation. Because if you're talking about elections, that process had already started. NPCA had an elections couple of months back.
Yes.
So the election process was on. But will that solve the issue? And when you're talking about elections, is it who is going to come in? What is the vetting criteria?
Correct.
Does the person who is in charge of either, say, the treasurer or the secretary, does he have the ability or the credentials or the records for the job that he is going for? So that needs also to be addressed very deeply, because if you do not get your foundations strong, then you are just camouflaging and you're just covering the situation. What I suggest that should take place is let the constitution be developed, because it needs time. It does not need to be rushed. You need to involve various stakeholders, because everybody is who love cricket, whether at provincial level, whether at national level, or at the club level, or at the school level, or the young cricketers. They all need to be involved in this, because they are a stakeholder. What I would suggest is that let there be a caretaker committee, that those who are interested in helping cricket in this country should apply to this very committee that has been appointed. Maybe their mandate can be expanded. They say 50 or 70 or 80 people who are interested to help in this caretaker committee. That committee could then vet and get, say, 20 people and then interview them and see who are the 8-10 people who can carry this thing forward for the next 12 months, 6 months, whatever is required with the law, so that the healing takes place. We bring calmness to the whole thing, because right now we need to bring people together. And the only way, as you know, I'm in the field of mediation, where you need to bring people together and you come to have middle grounds on certain issues.
True.
But elections, because remember, election, one wins and one loses. So we are going back to antagonizing the situation. And then, of course, our courts are very easy, where you can put an injunction and you have another court casing, and time is going. The biggest sufferers right now are not these politicians or people who are fighting. The biggest sufferers are the young cricketers, who are really suffering because of the problems that are created at the high level.
Very well said. Actually, that makes a lot of sense suddenly, right? We didn't even think about this. But Videsh, I know you also have a question for Asif.
You know, you were part of a golden generation for cricket Kenya till the semi-finals in 2003. Do you think, further to what you've mentioned, do you think not having a proper management or a governing body that overlooked cricket in the country has suffered so much that today the love for the game is there, but at the grassroots level it's not what we want to see?
Yes, again, that's a good question. You remember the last 20 years, the young generation that we have many options. In our time, the only option was sports. There was nothing else. Now, the youngsters have social media, they have other pressures, they have other interests. And so sports, which is hard, which is not easy, to play good level of sports needs a lot of time, commitment, discipline, determination to do well. So that priority has now gone down, and has gone further down as far as cricket is concerned, because of the administration, politics, and killing the entire sport that has 120 years history in this country.
Yes.
So how do we bring them back? The first thing is that we need to have sobriety around. We need to create, it's very toxic right now. The entire cricketing structure right now is so toxic that each one is bad-mouthing the other. And so how are we going to heal this problem? The only way, again, as I say, is we need to calm down. We need to give a little bit of time, and so that time can heal issues. And then definitely elections must take place, because democracy must be all the way ahead.
True, very well said. I believe, Priyanka, you have a question for him.
I do, Bhargav. So, Mr. Asif Karim, obviously, we know if Kenya has to have an impact in the world of cricket all over, we will need to appeal more to the masses as opposed to just the elite few that we've been appealing to for the past decade. So what are your suggestions and your opinions on how to appeal to the masses so that the love for the game grows over the next couple of months?
Yeah, what I'm going to suggest to that question does not only reflect to cricket. I think it reflects to all sports disciplines. You must remember that a period, there'll be a few sportsmen, like we had a good team during our era, but the sportsman's life is limited.
Absolutely.
So what happens after that? So the easiest solution to all that is to have a solid and an effective development program from the under 10s to under 12s to under 14s to under 16, 19, 21. So that becomes a feeding system to continue the trend. So it's very important that the cricket is encouraged at school level, at the estates right now, where we need to create because of various other problems that we have. So that to me can help quite a bit on developing more cricketers or any other sport that we're talking about.
Okay. Definitely. Yeah. I think that level of commitment would obviously have to come from the grassroots,
yes,
going upwards.
Indeed. Yeah. Of course, it's a process, and then the clubs come in, and then the provincial, and then of course, in the olden days there used to be Mombasa versus Nairobi,
yes,
annual fixtures were taking place, so each one would get exposure to play the other side. And when I'm talking about Mombasa and Nairobi, I'm remembering your late father, yes, Anup Chotai, who I traveled almost every weekend because I used to be in Mombasa,
yes,
and he was in Mombasa, so we used to travel on Saturdays to come and play the league here and come back. So we have a lot of memories with him. May God rest his soul in peace.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karim. I think it's that passion that you had or Dad had that we would love to see in the cricketers now. You know, when we have the potential to go to World Cup or to even get our statuses back.
Correct.
Let me say this: the youngsters that are out there right now, they have the hunger to play.
Absolutely.
But you need to create a conducive environment.
Yes.
And the conducive environment can be done by the leadership, by the administration.
Yeah.
If they don't create it and the youngsters are watching, remember, the youngsters right now are much sharper than we were youngsters. They're very up to it, and they can sense the situation. These youngsters are dejected right now. Some of the cricketers who are so talented have not only left the national team, have not only left the country, they are now playing for other countries.
Exactly.
We have cases like Tanmay Mishra.
Yes.
We lost a great player in Mishra when we lost him to go to play in India.
Exactly.
Also who played for the IPL, but nothing from the Kenyan national team.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's important that we need to facilitate, we need to create a good environment for these youngsters, and it's our duty as the elders to create that environment for them. It is only fair that we need to pave good way for them, and it's exciting. This sport is exciting. Kenyan cricket is followed not only in Kenya, by a lot of people outside also.
Absolutely.
Yes, in fact, this committee was also not being pushed just by the government. It was all the way from ICC saying, hey, please get your act together because we really want Kenyan team back.
In fact, that is also very unusual. Normally, the ICC would not involve themselves.
Exactly.
So you can see that ICC also has a lot of passion for Kenya cricket because we have very, very good history. We have excellent facilities of the cricket grounds that we have. It's remarkable. Even the Indian cricketers, when they come here, they love the facilities we have. The weather that we have can play 365 days. There is hardly any country in the world that can offer you to play 365 days cricket. Kenya is one of them.
Absolutely.
Very true. Well, let's hope Cricket Kenya comes back in order and we get to see Kenyans outperform the other superstars that we've been talking about on the T20 show. Here's my question to you. Have you gone through the constitution that's been drafted? And I think they have now called people to give their opinions and views about it. What is the thing that you probably want to change in it, or what are your views and opinions about that whole thing that's now come forward and everyone in the cricket fraternity in Kenya is talking about it? In fact, not even in Kenya, as you correctly said, everyone outside of Kenya is also as interested in what's going on. So what do you feel if you had the word to now tell them this is the problem?
Thank you. I think first of all the normalization committee needs to send out this document. I struggled to get this document. I only received it a couple of days ago from a friend. In fact, from Rajab. He sent it to me when I requested him. So I've just browsed through the document. I will definitely give my input, as has been asked by the normalization committee. So I am going to put in the dossier on my views and comments. It's not what I want, it's my suggestion. It's for them to decide what is best for us. But one thing that came out very interesting as I was just going through it is that they are trying, again, it might be a Sports Act requirement, but we also need to go and explain to the sports registrar on the dynamics of each sport has its own dynamics.
Yes.
So one of the areas they're talking about is membership of associates from counties, because we want to now go into counties.
Yes.
But my question is, do you give a membership to a county before they have done anything? Or do you tell that particular county that you want to be involved in cricket? Can you show us in the next 1 year or 2 years physically what you have done to promote cricket in your county? Or is this being done for voting purposes? Is it for numbering? My guess is the second one.
Yes.
Because how do you give a Machakos county or Nyeri county or any other county that has no cricket ground, has no cricket being played, how do you give them membership to give them a vote or for lobbying for other things? So I think that's an area that I'm going to be addressing or suggesting that I think it needs to be looked into, because you must tell them we're giving you 1 year or we're giving you 18 months or 2 years, whatever is appropriate, for you to show us how many clubs are registered, how many cricketers are playing, what tournaments have you organized for you to apply for membership. So that's an area, and then of course I'm going to go through the document and give my suggestions before the deadline.
Perfect. I think that's a brilliant.
Like, where can I clap, because it was a fantastic. I think it's definitely.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Here we go. I have it all. Don't worry.
So spot on. Don't make the numbers, but get it technically right.
And that's what he was talking about, the vetting process. And through this 1 year or 18 months, with them showing their potential, is how you would potentially vet them in the future.
Correct. And it's perfectly put, because it might just be a number game rather than someone who has the love for cricket or have even done something about the cricketing in their counties. Well, talking about cricket now, let's deviate a bit and let's talk about sports. We have seen that this Sports Act requires all counties to be incorporated in them. But how does sporting or getting sport activities done enable employment, which is something that you initially mentioned, that President Uhuru Kenyatta also is for that. He wants more employment. So how does sports bring in employment?
See, the President, His Excellency, has 4 agendas, and one of them is creating employment. The easiest form of creating employment is by sports and through creative industry. He wants to create 500,000 jobs. Well, sports can give him 20 to 30% of that easily, provided we create that environment, we have the right people in the right places who know what they are talking about. Again, if I go back to cricket, and with all due respect to some of my colleagues, some of them have nothing other than to be in the administration. They don't have a job, they don't have the qualifications, they would struggle to get a job. So the easiest form for them is to get into the administration, to possibly look at some income, or to look for some position, or maybe to massage their ego. So it's important that even when this normalization committee is formed, they need to have a vetting process on all people who want to vie for a position. Not just because you are coming from the provincial association that you are now standing for a position. So we have a serious problem. That's why I'm saying this elections is not the solution currently. We need to buy a little time. We need to heal the situation, need to put the structures in place, and that will take time.
I just want to ask you one last question. You mentioned about co-opting the committee. Do you want to just expand on that? What exactly should they do, if you have any suggestions for them on this?
I think, first of all, the normalization committee must accept that there are certain areas they cannot be able to handle because of their lack of knowledge on the sport itself. And so maybe they could go back to the minister and explain that could we get an option of getting a couple of members from the cricketing fraternity for a particular issue. And there are some wonderful people out there who love this sport, who are shying themselves away because of the toxic environment that this administration has created over the last 10 years. I mean, there are wonderful, wonderful people that I could name that could do great job for Kenya cricket. They love the sport, they know the job, and I hope that they get the opportunity.
Radio 44.
If you are standing for a position of a treasurer, what qualifications do you have as a treasurer? Do you have a CPA, or do you have certain things that you'll be able to manage money? I mean, a couple of elections, there was a treasurer who could not even
calculate.
I'm not sure even if he knew what accrued interest is or debit or credit is.
We got a call from Kennedy Obuya, who has also been part of the committee in the past, and he had a lot to say.
My point is, I think Asif is very good in criticizing, and it's very good to know who has done account and who has done account. It's people like him who have not been in a position to bring everything together. When people like us take an initiative to try and solve the problem, we are being told we are the problem. He should not say that, and I know who he meant by mean that treasurer cannot do any math. He should not think of because of he's so much educated that other people are not educated. In the aspect of my angle, I go for the position because I love the sport and I want to make that change in the sport. It doesn't matter. And the structure of cricket Kenya, this old story that everybody is saying that you need to be an accountant, you need to be a specialist in one area, it's all ulabalu. ICC, by the time they give you the money, the full office is fully funded. There is a full chief accountant, there is an administrator, there is a development director. If we are looking at one area and insisting that we need a specialist accountant, then we should go a step further and say that for you to vie for a position in cricket Kenya, you must have played maybe 2 World Cups or 3 World Cups, or must have played certain form of cricket. There are so many people on that board for the last 20 years who have not played any cricket, but they're still running the board. So I think for you to make the whole thing balanced, if Asif is going to attack people, and he wants to attack me specifically, call me on the show, give me a right to respond.
No, definitely.
To say that the treasurer had no clue on what he's doing, there is a full accountant in that office. My job is to overlook what he does. It has nothing to do with education. The last accountant, what education do they have about accounts? But my point is, and I'm being honest with you. If he wants to attack people, give me a right to reply. Bring him on the same show. Bring him on.
No, definitely.
Let him speak opposite me, and let him make his allegations, and let him make his point.
But do you? Why is there?
Coming back to the county. Let me just finish. Coming back to the county. The game is stagnant because of the game is only being played in Nairobi. You have to expand the game. I'm being honest with you, and I'm very upset, and you can tell. I feel attacked. I've even called him. If he's sitting next to you, they will tell you. I've even tried to go to call him, to tell him we should all bring cricketers all together and see if we can make a big difference. He doesn't want. So why criticize people who are trying to go in and make a difference?
Right, I understand completely, and I would love to invite you. We are out of time right now.
I'm very much available.
Perfect. We will give you a ring, and we will invite you here in the studios to voice your opinion as well.
Radio 44.